Unmasked, Episode 5, The Mind Games. Control doesn't always look like control. It's not always obvious. It's not always loud. It doesn't always come in the form of rules or restrictions. Sometimes it comes in the way someone speaks to you, the way they make you feel, the way they slowly take hold of your thoughts without you even realizing it. Because the most powerful kind of control isn't physical. It's psychological. It's the kind that gets inside your head and changes how you see yourself, how you see other people, and how you believe the world sees you. And that's exactly what happened. It didn't happen all at once. It was gradual, it was layered, it was consistent enough to affect me, but subtle enough at times that I didn't fully see it for what it was. One of the biggest things was the way he spoke about other people, especially his family. He would tell me they didn't like me, that they laughed about me when I wasn't there, that they joked about me, judged me, spoke about me behind my back. He made it sound like I was being talked about, picked apart, looked down on. And when you hear that enough, you start to believe it. You start to feel uncomfortable around people you might not have even had an issue with before. You start second-guessing every interaction, every look, every conversation. You start thinking, are they laughing at me? Are they judging me? Do they even like me? So I pulled back. I stopped feeling comfortable, I stopped trusting them, I stopped being myself around them because I felt like I was being watched, judged, talked about. And then he would turn around and get angry at me for it. He would question why I was distant, why I didn't feel comfortable, why I wasn't engaging with them the way he expected. And that's how confusing it becomes. Because the same person who created that feeling in you is the one criticizing you for having it. So again, you feel like the problem. Again, you question yourself. Again, you try to fix something that was never yours to fix. And that's how isolation happens, without you even realizing it. Because it's not always about physically keeping you away from people. Sometimes it's about changing how you feel around them. Making you uncomfortable, making you unsure, making you feel like you don't belong. And once that happens, you isolate yourself. And that makes you easier to control. Then there were the constant switches. 1 minute it was, I love you. The next, it was, I hate you. One moment I mattered, the next I didn't. 1 minute I was everything, the next I was nothing. There was no consistency, no stability, no sense of where I stood, and that keeps you hooked. Because when someone switches between warmth and coldness, between affection and cruelty, you start chasing the good version of them. You hold on to the moments where they're kind, where they feel like the person you fell for, and you ignore everything else. Because you want that version back. There were times he would say he didn't love me, completely cold, completely detached, like I meant nothing, and then later it would change again. Just enough to pull me back in, just enough to make me question everything all over again. And that emotional back and forth keeps you in a constant state of imbalance. You're always trying to get back to something that keeps being taken away. Then there was the way intimacy was used. Not as something mutual, not as something safe, but as something tied to pressure and expectation. If I didn't respond the way he wanted, it became a problem. If I pulled away, if I wasn't comfortable, if I didn't want that kind of contact, it was turned into something negative about me. And when you're already being broken down, already questioning yourself, it becomes harder to trust your own boundaries, harder to say no, harder to stand in what feels right for you, because you've been conditioned to believe your feelings are wrong. There were also the labels. Being called crazy, being told I was a bad mother, being made to feel like I wasn't enough, like I was failing, like there was something fundamentally wrong with me. And when you hear those things repeatedly, they don't just stay as words. They start to shape how you see yourself. You start questioning your own ability, your own worth, your own identity, and that's how control really takes hold. Because when you don't feel strong in who you are, you become more dependent on the person who is breaking you down. And then there were the things that stay with you the longest. The things said so casually, but that cut the deepest. Being told I wouldn't be missed if I died. Being spoken to like I didn't matter, like my presence didn't have any value. Those aren't just comments. They stay with you. They replay in your head. They become part of the way you see yourself, even when you don't want them to. And the hardest part is, none of this exists on its own. It all connects. The mind games, the denial, the switching between love and hate, the isolation, the pressure, the labels, the comments that slowly chip away at you. It all works together to make you feel smaller, weaker, more uncertain. And when you're in that place, it becomes incredibly hard to see a way out. Because you're not just dealing with the relationship, you're dealing with what it's done to you. But the truth is, none of those things were a reflection of who I was. They were tools, used to control, to manipulate, to isolate, to break down. And once you start to see that clearly, something begins to shift. You start questioning the things you were told. You start separating their words from your identity. You start realizing that being called crazy doesn't mean you are, that being told you're a bad mother doesn't make it true, that being made to feel unworthy doesn't mean you are. And slowly, you start taking pieces of yourself back. Because control only works when you believe it. And once you stop believing it, even slightly, it starts to lose its hold. This wasn't love. It was control, dressed up as something else. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. This is Unmasked, and this is where the mind games begin to unravel.